Maggie had never met her grandfather, and she had never wanted to. Her mother had always spoke of him in hushed, fearful tones as if he was some sort of monster. But when Maggie received a letter from a lawyer telling her that she had been named in her grandfather's will, she couldn't resist the temptation to learn more about the man who had always been a mystery to her. The will was strange, to say the least. It stipulated that Maggie would only inherit her grandfather's considerable fortune if she agreed to sell her soul to the devil. At first, Maggie dismissed the idea as a prank, but the more she dug into her grandfather's past, the more convinced she became that it was all true. As Maggie delved deeper, she began to uncover a web of secrets and lies. Her grandfather had been a powerful man, feared and respected in equal measure. But he had also been a cruel and vindictive man. Maggie learned that he had made a deal with the devil, exchanging his own soul for power and wealth beyond his wildest dreams. But as Maggie struggled with the decision of whether to accept the inheritance, she began to notice strange things happening around her. Shadows seemed to move on their own. Whispers echoed through the halls of her mansion, and the air grew thick with a sense of malevolence. Finally, Maggie made her decision. She would sell her soul to the devil and claim her inheritance. She signed the contract, feeling a sense of unease that she couldn't quite shake. As she settled into her new life of luxury and decadence, Maggie began to experience strange, disturbing dreams. She saw her grandfather, or something that looked like him, beckoning her to join him in the depths of hell. And then, one night, she woke to find him standing at the foot of her bed. His eyes were black pits, his skin was ashen, and his voice was a cold, hollow whisper. "Maggie," he said, "you thought you could outsmart me, but you were wrong. You were never meant to inherit my fortune. You were only ever meant to join me in hell." Maggie tried to scream, but her voice was silenced by a hand that seemed to come from nowhere. And then, in a flash of fire and brimstone, her grandfather was gone. As Maggie lay there, trembling and alone, she realized the terrible truth. Her inheritance had never been about money or power. It had been about indoctrination. Her grandfather had wanted to create a vessel for the devil, a body that he could inhabit and use to wreak havoc on the world. She soon noticed that her body was twisted and contorted. Her skin was blistered and burnt, and her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. The devil had taken possession of her body, using it as a vessel for his own twisted desires. He reveled in the pain and suffering he caused, delighting in the terror he instilled in those around him. And Maggie was trapped, a prisoner in her own body, forced to watch as the devil used her to carry out his evil deeds. In the end, there was no redemption for Maggie. She was consumed by the darkness, consumed by the devil himself, and her soul was lost forever. She had sold her soul for nothing, and doing so had condemned herself to an eternity of torment and pain.